All right, let's dive right into this explainer and demystify the completely chaotic world of SEO. We're going to be using a thoroughly tested 10-step building blueprint. Look, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by search engine optimization, you are definitely not alone. It usually feels like this mysterious, unpredictable black box, where the rules just magically change every single week and nobody really knows what actually works. But today, we're going to break it all down. We're taking a highly structured architectural approach based on some genuinely fascinating source material. So it raises a really fascinating core question right off the bat. What actually separates a campaign that absolutely dominates page one from a complete and total failure? Is it dark internet magic? Well, actually, scratch that. We know it's not magic. Is it just aggressively spamming backlinks all over the web and crossing your fingers? Or is it a rigorous, repeatable process? The blueprint we are looking at today argues firmly for the latter. It turns out successful SEO is all about order, standards, and building a rock-solid foundation that won't just suddenly crumble underneath you.
And the data backing this up is staggering. This is not just some theory someone dreamed up over a weekend. This exact framework has been battle-tested across over 450 real-world projects in a massive variety of markets and taught to over 3,000 students. So whether you're running a giant corporate service website, a massive e-commerce store with thousands of products, or just a small affiliate site, the source data proved this specific architectural process works universally.
Okay, here's our 5-phase, 10-step construction plan. We'll start with the introduction to SEO strategy, then move right through Phase 1, discovery, Phase 2, improving, Phase 3, create and optimize, Phase 4, promotion, and finally, Phase 5, evaluate and grow. Let's kick things off with the introduction. SEO strategy in the blueprint approach. So following a standardized process allows you to actually control quality, manage progress, and achieve sustainable search rankings. When you don't have a blueprint, SEO is incredibly stressful. You're essentially just throwing spaghetti at the wall, guessing what might stick, and praying Google rewards you. But having a standardized order, that changes the game completely. It ensures you aren't just guessing. You're actively driving revenue and confidently capturing potential customers because you can control the quality of every single element of your site. You're managing your progress systematically, building for sustainable, long-term rankings, instead of just chasing quick, risky wins that are going to disappear the very next day.
Moving into Phase 1, discovery. This is all about surveying the land.
Moving swiftly through the first 4 steps of our blueprint, we start by gathering initial market data to understand the broader environment. Then we dive into keyword research to see exactly what terms your target audience is literally typing into the search bar. Now, Step 3 is critical. Keyword grouping. You absolutely have to do this to prevent keyword cannibalization. That's basically when you accidentally make your own web pages fight each other for Google's attention by targeting the exact same topic on multiple pages. Finally, Step 4 is competitor analysis. We look super closely at the top 3 competitors in your specific niche to discover the key success factors they're already leveraging, so we can basically reverse engineer their success.
Now, this distinction right here is where a lot of campaigns just fail miserably. Understanding who you're targeting, your customer persona, complete with their demographics, income levels, and core pain points, is completely different from understanding how they search. That's the customer journey. Buyers go through distinct phases, right? Awareness, consideration, evaluation, and decision. To give you a concrete example, imagine a 30-year-old marketing manager is your persona. Her journey dictates whether she's searching for a top-of-funnel term like what is SEO during the awareness phase or a bottom-of-funnel transactional term like buy SEO software in the decision phase. Your keywords and your content have to be perfectly mapped to each of these specific stages to effectively guide them toward a purchase.
Let's move on to Phase 2, improving. This is where we are pouring the foundation.
Step 5 is our absolute foundations check, where we run a massive, comprehensive audit across 5 critical pillars. First step, technical. We ensure Google can actually crawl and index the site quickly, checking things like site speed and mobile responsiveness. Second, we audit content to completely eliminate thin, outdated, or duplicate pages that might trigger a penalty from Google. Third, we check on-site structure so your internal linking actually makes sense to users. Fourth is entity consistency, just making sure your business details and brand name match everywhere online. And finally, an off-page audit. This is where we make sure toxic backlinks, spammy links from shady, irrelevant websites pointing to yours, aren't silently dragging your rankings down behind the scenes.
I absolutely love this quote because this realization is completely counterintuitive at first. User experience and user interface aren't just for human conversions, they are critical signals for Google's rankings too. You might think Google only cares about the words on a page,
And sure, a beautiful interface might attract the eye, but if the user flow is confusing or the site is hard to navigate, visitors will get frustrated and just hit the back button. That creates a high bounce rate. And when visitors bounce immediately after clicking your link, Google notices. They interpret that fast exit as your site being a bad result, and consequently, your rankings will absolutely drop. Your design and your optimization must work together seamlessly.
On to Phase 3, create and optimize. This is building the structure.
Here's where we execute our content strategy and dial in our on-page SEO, which are steps 6 and 7. The strategy here is to group content by topic clusters rather than just writing about random, disconnected keywords. A topic cluster just means you create a comprehensive central hub page about a broad topic and then physically link out to several related subtopics. You map those clustered topics straight back to the buyer's journey we talked about earlier. Then, on the page level, you make sure your URLs, titles, and headings are perfectly optimized. The source notes it's vital to balance high-quality, human-readable content with the analytical feedback you get from SEO tools. You really want to write for humans first, but use the tools to ensure the algorithms can actually read it.
Next up, Step 8 tackles the concept of entity. Now, I know that sounds deeply technical, but it really just means proving to Google that your brand is a real, trustworthy organization. You need Google to recognize your business as a distinct, authoritative concept completely separate from anyone else on the web. Especially in today's era of AI-generated content and thousands of fake websites popping up overnight, Google relies heavily on these specific entity signals to decide who is actually a legitimate business worthy of ranking at the top of their results.
So how do you actually build that trust? Well, you align your on-site signals. This means creating a highly detailed About Us page and publishing team bios with verified expertise. This is incredibly important for industries Google categorizes as your money or your life, like finance, law, or health, where bad advice could severely impact a searcher's well-being. It also means clearly displaying business policies, maintaining consistent header and footer data, and implementing schema markup. Think of schema markup as a direct translator for your website. It's basically handing your most important business data to Google's robots on a silver platter in their own native code, so they never have to guess who you are or what you do.
Next is Phase 4, promotion, marketing the property. Step 9 is all about link building. Once your foundation is absolutely perfect and your content is stellar, acquiring high-quality inbound links from other websites signals extreme authority to search engines. Think of every link from another website as a literal vote of confidence. But remember, not all votes are created equal. A vote from a major, globally recognized news publication is worth 1,000 votes from a tiny, unknown blog. If you want to rank in tough, highly competitive markets, this step is absolutely non-negotiable. It is the fuel that truly powers your ranking engine. But you have to be careful, because safe link building requires strict adherence to quality criteria to avoid getting slapped with a nasty penalty by Google. It isn't about just spamming the internet with your URL. It requires links to be highly relevant to your specific industry. You need a diversity of referring domains, and the links need to come from pages that actually generate real human traffic. Most importantly, you must avoid manipulative footprints. A manipulative footprint is something that makes your links look highly unnatural to the algorithms, like suddenly buying hundreds of cheap, low-quality links from overseas directories overnight. That kind of behavior will tank your site's visibility faster than you can even blink.
Finally, we reach Phase 5, evaluate and grow. Regular maintenance.
Step 10 shows us that SEO is a completely cyclical process. The internet is constantly changing, competitors are constantly updating their sites, and Google's algorithms are constantly evolving. So an SEO blueprint is never truly finished. The source insists you must conduct these 90-day quarterly reviews. First, you review your current progress against the initial goals you set. Second, you run a brand new audit on the entire project to catch anything that might have broken over the last 3 months. And third, you develop a new quarterly improvement plan to adjust your strategy based on what the real-world data is telling you. This specific 90-day cycle is exactly what keeps successful sites at the top while their competitors slowly fall behind.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want you to ask yourself a hard question. Look at your own website's architecture right now. Is your foundation cracked, or are you just lacking the authority to build higher? Which of the 5 phases is currently holding your search rankings back? The blueprint is now completely in your hands. Identify where your current strategy is failing and apply this 10-step process today to start fixing it. So, which phase are you going to fix first?